This video is brought to you by the Deck of Many and their 5e campaign setting book, Heckna. Hello and welcome back to the Gallant Goblin. Today we have Wave 3 of the premium painted PC minis for Dungeons & Dragons. This is the wave where they really start to have some fun with it. We've got Tabaxi, we've got Goliaths, we've got Dragonborn, we've got Firbolgs, and we've got a Tortle.
Tortle alert!
Each of these figures comes packaged individually for an MSRP of $7.99 each, and they're all also available unpainted in the Nolzur's Marvelous Minis line with an alternate sculpt if you prefer to paint them yourself. But these feature WizKids' top-of-the-line paint job. So let's open them up and take a closer look. When I first saw this human barbarian, I thought, she'll be fantastic for Icewind Dale, Rime of the Frostmaiden, as a player character. Decked out in furs, dual-wielding an axe and a sword, she could be the perfect barbarian or fighter mini. The little details are great too. She has a little money pouch or like a potion strapped to her belt and a backup dagger at her hip. This mini is just ready to see some combat. There's just something very classic about a female Halfling Rogue, but maybe it really ties back to the fact that the very first character created for my very first campaign was a female Halfling Rogue. This is a great mini too. The face is really detailed, her clothes and hands even appear like a little smudged, making her look like she's just been like sneaking through the brush. Just a great overall mini. The human Warlock here comes with a great shadowy spell effect that's not translucent like many of the other spell effects we see, but it has a nice silky look to it. It's also not removable from the base. The metallic parts of her costume have a nice sheen to them, and in a pinch, you could say that those objects sticking out of her hair are horns, if you'd like to think of this as a tiefling Warlock perhaps. If you want an old-school knight character in heavy armor, this mini has you covered. There's nothing high fantasy about this one. There's a pure silver color on all parts of his armor, but if you look closely, you can see these flourishes and an intricate design. It's not some peasant who cobbled together a set of armor on his blacksmith anvil in his garage. This is a true knight of the land. This is our Tortle Monk. Since we don't have many Tortle minis, I'm glad this one is pretty universally usable. He could certainly be a monk, but with a staff like that, he could easily be a caster too, a warlock, a wizard, a druid, or a sorcerer. The staff itself has a little blue translucent effect on it. Another classic Dragonborn melee fighter, here armed with a warhammer. In 5e, you can choose your Dragonborn draconic ancestry, which determines your breath weapon and your scale color. I feel like we get mostly these reddish-orange colored Dragonborns, which I guess is the color they're most often depicted as. But all types of chromatic and metallic options are available. You could easily use this one for red or brass or bronze or a copper Dragonborn, but I'm ready for some true blue, black, white, green, or other metallic Dragonborn minis. Note that if you get the unpainted version of this mini, you could paint them any color you want. We really don't have many Goliath minis. They were added pretty early on in 5e, but in a fairly obscure way. They were detailed in the Elemental Evil Player's Companion, which is a free download which you can find linked down in the video description below. It also included stats for the Aarakocra and the Genasi. These free player companions are pretty standard with Pathfinder adventures, but to my knowledge, Elemental Evil is the only free player's companion to come out yet for 5e. I really love having these free supplements to help players create characters for published adventures, and I would love to see more of them. Man, it's great to get more Firbolg minis. This is a big fella too, towering even over the Goliath and the Dragonborn minis in this set. He even has those Andre the Giant style hands that are bigger than his head. If you're not familiar with Firbolgs, they're these very large, generally gentle guardians of nature with cow-like facial features. They make natural druids and receive a bonus to wisdom and strength. They're even able to communicate to a limited degree with plants and animals. This is the Tabaxi Rogue, armed with her hood and short swords. With all those fine facial details and stripes that Tabaxi like this have, I'm glad I'm not having to paint her myself. Tabaxi are another rare race when it comes to mini availability. The blue accents on her clothing, which complement her orange fur, really make her stand out on the table too. This is actually probably my favorite Tabaxi mini so far. This figure is called an elf cleric, but there's no real religious iconography on her armor or weapons. The only thing that might give away her religious nature is her pose, which appears to show her calling forth the power of the gods. Otherwise, this figure could work for any elf or half-elf who wears medium armor. She has a mace in one hand and what appears to be a sling, perhaps, in the other. Keep in mind that these minis will need to be glued onto their bases, which come separately in the package. There's something about this line of figures that just really makes me want to sit down and play a game of D&D. The great sculpts and the high-quality paint jobs just beg to be let loose in an adventure. I'm also really glad that figures like these are available individually to make it easier for players to grab just the mini that they need. I've talked before about having a bunch of these on the table to choose from for players who are new to the hobby and they're creating their first characters. I think it's sometimes easier for players to come up with a personality and a backstory while looking at a mini that they can hold in their hand. But another option these days especially is to send them to an online retailer or to the WizKids web store to do a search for these premium figures, to really browse through all the options. With 3 waves of these D&D figures and 1 wave of the Pathfinder ones, you're really starting to get a lot of options now. Oh, and if you haven't seen our review yet of those Pathfinder premium figures, go check it out because those are great figures and they're easily usable in your D&D games as well. You can see that video, of course, by clicking that little eye in the corner of your screen. Again, all of these figures are available right now and they have an MSRP of $7.99. Let me know what you think of them in the comment section down below. Are there any big holes that you'd like to see WizKids fill in Wave 4? I'm also glad that they've upped the number of figures we're getting in each wave from 6 to 10. The more of these figures, the better in my book. Many thanks again also to the Deck of Many who sponsored this video. The Deck of Many is currently running a Kickstarter for their new Heckna 5e campaign setting book. Heckna allows you to tell the story of the Revelia, a carnival run by the titular Heckna, who's not above using some frightful tricks to keep his audience on the edge of their seat. The book contains everything you need to run an adventure, including locations, new magic items, new monsters, and everything else, much, much more. Learn more about it and join me in backing today over at Heckna.com. Many thanks to you as well for watching today. You can help us out by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and sharing our videos with your friends. Come and join us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram for news and deals and previews and discussions. Otherwise, please stay safe out there, have fun, and I'll see you next time at the Gallant Goblin.